Wealth is created when people get together and produce something. The whole question is, what's the relationship among those people when they get together to produce something? The minute they get together, they can achieve levels of wealth which by themselves, individually, they couldn't. That's called the division of labor. From earliest times, human beings, when they've been in tribes or clans or everything we know, anthropologically or any of that, when they get together, there's a division of labor. Like farmers who get together on a Sunday and all build barns for Harry. And 2 weeks later, they all get together and build a barn for Louise, right? So they get together, and now with a barn, you can keep your animals, you can store your wood, and you can grow and be out of your poverty that you might have had as an individual. So collective action has taught people division of labor, more wealth production. But that leaves open the question, what is the relationship among the people when they get together to produce wealth? Slavery is one relationship. Some of us are masters and some of us are, it's a relationship. Lord and serf, employer, employee, democratic co-op. Those are alternative ways of organizing to get out of poverty. For me, as an American who likes freedom of choice, I'd like to be able to choose. Teach me and show me what slavery is like. Teach me and show me what feudalism is like. Teach me and show me what capitalism is like. Teach me and show me what a socialist, collectivist, whatever you want to call it, worker co-op is like. And then let's have a choice. Let people decide from which of these enterprises they want to buy the goods and services they consume, and in which of these environments they would like to do their labor, their part of the work effort. We don't have that freedom of choice in this country. We've abolished slavery. I have no objection. We put aside feudalism. I don't have an objection either. We have capitalism, but we have an alternative which we have systematically denied our people access to. I object.
How are people denied access to worker co-ops?
Where are they? We have a few thousand in the United States. Most people don't know that they're there. Most people don't know what it's like. They don't have an opportunity to work in one. They don't have an opportunity to buy products from one. If you wanted to give people choice, they'd have to have that. We'd have to be able, to go down the street and hear about it from a cousin or a friend or a newspaper story, and then go look at it, walk in there. We have efforts at it. We have food co-ops all over the United States. Brooklyn here in New York has famous food, been there for a long time. And you can go there and you can see this is a different way of organizing the supermarket. Okay, you don't have to like it, but you have a chance to see it. But we don't have worker co-ops in this country, and we don't have them for a lot of reasons, many of which are that capitalists don't want competition. They don't mind competition on 4th of July when it comes time to talk. Oh, that big one. But they don't ever want it. Every industry in this country, every industry has gone from competitive to monopoly or oligopoly if it's a few. That's a tendency that is built into capitalism. The same people who celebrate competition have a hard time teaching their students or their public that there's an end point to competition. The winner in a competition, the one who sells the good at a better price or makes a better quality in capitalism, that one, defeats the other ones who go out of business when they can't compete. And what happens when they go out of business is they lay off workers and they stop using machines, and the machines go into what's called a secondary market or the used machinery market, and the workers look for jobs. And since they're good at this product, where the machines end up and the workers end up? In the company that won. So many companies become few. Small companies become large until there's only 2 or 3 or 4 left, or sometimes only 1 left. And that's wonderful for the ones who make it, because they are now in a position to jack up the price because you've got nowhere else to go. Okay, every capitalist dreams of that. The apologists, the professors of economics, whose job it is to put on the rose-colored glasses, they tell you about the competition when it's working nicely to make one company more efficient than another, but they don't tell you where it ends up. And when it ends up, we all scream bloody murder that there's monopoly here. We're being gouged, we're being charged too much. And then we ask the government to come in with an antitrust department in the Justice Department to go in there and do what the capitalist market can't do, which is break these things up, which the government often does, whereupon the same process resumes, and a few years later, we're back again. We have a half a dozen companies that make cigarettes, a half a dozen companies that make cars, fill in the blank. You know that, I know that, we live in it. But the make-believe that this is somehow an aberration, this has been how capitalism has worked from day one. You know, Adam Smith and David Ricardo, thought to be the fathers, if you like, of modern economics about capitalism. They talked about this. They didn't hide away from it. But my modern colleagues here, who teach Adam Smith and Ricardo, have a strange selectivity when it comes to seeing what the implications are of what even these folks said. And when I explained to them that Marx was a very close student of Smith and Ricardo, that Marx wrote a 4-volume work called Theories of Surplus Value, in which there are hundreds of pages devoted to a detailed analysis of the work of Smith and Ricardo that Marx made use of. The labor theory of value, one of Marx's contributions, is taken from Smith and Ricardo. You know, when I explain that to people, they look at me. It's the look of people who have been denied access, not just to worker co-ops, but to the whole development of a body of thought that's critical of capitalism. You know, and there's nothing to be ashamed of for capitalists either. Every system, slavery, feudalism, whatever system you want, had people who loved it and had people who were critical of it. That's healthy. That should be. That's how you identify problems in a society and figure out maybe solutions to them. If you shut down the critics, if you give them no job in the university, no access to the media, no opportunity to show where their theories lead so people can make a judgment about them, you think you're saving your system. You're not. You're closing off one of the few sources of analysis and criticism and finding flaws and fixing them. The system rots when you don't have criticism. That's the problem of the United States. It expunged the left after World War II and the socialism. It's going to be paying, already is, heavy price because it did not fix its problems because it needed to pretend it didn't have them. I'll make a very personal example. I'm a critic of capitalism. I have been all my adult life. People like me don't get jobs in American universities. They don't. American universities mostly hire what are called neoclassical economics professors. That's the sort of the standard stuff that we all teach. A few of them are daring and hire Keynesian economists. You know, people that are now, again, a little bit okay in American society. Folks like Paul Krugman or Stiglitz, folks like that. But the one thing that neoclassicals and Keynesians too often butt heads, one of the few things they can get agreement on is to exclude Marxists, exclude people who are critical of capitalism. Why? Because they're scared. It's dangerous in this culture to be interested in those, even now. Less so now than it's been for a long time, but still now. And so you close it off. You teach people who might be interested in these ideas, don't show that. Don't let your colleagues understand that you're interested in that. They look at you a little funny. You're supposed to be a cheerleader for capitalism. That's not healthy. It's like being in a club where everybody has to be a member, has to say it's the best club there ever was. For me, I don't want to be in that club. But then again, they don't want me either. So.